Shalom, good people. I hope you're all doing well. This is the second video I've recorded, or I'm recording right now. I went for a walk in the rain. View was scenic. La di da di da. It was too windy. You couldn't hear anything I was saying. So I'm doing it now in my kitchen. One of the things that I wanted to do is to just catch up with you, muse, and share some of my thoughts. And I really do believe, brothers and sisters, the people of God really need to have a mindset of being part of a kingdom, being part of a nation, despite the fact that they are scattered wherever they may be. And if we consider what is a nation, what is a nation, how do you establish a nation, there are certain key attributes to building a nation or establishing a nation. One thing, they must have a shared culture. They must have a shared system of norms and values. But even then, a system of what's right and what's wrong. You also need to have a shared history, something which keeps you bonded together in terms of an identity, where you came from, who were key figures in your past, what were the events that galvanized you together as a people. So you need a shared history, you need a shared culture. Within your culture and history, you need to have a standard, a universal standard that people agree to subscribe to. For example, a law. You need to have an infrastructure, whether it be static or mobile, that people agree to visit. So, a church, a tabernacle, a temple, or whatever the case may be. And with that, you have the key ingredients to establish a people. Now, what's missing is a territory, a land. However, the children of Israel, if we consider, they were promised a land, but they were a nation in the wilderness. So you can be a nation of people while not inhabiting a land, like Israel in the wilderness, like Israel to this day. So then, if you have a shared culture, a shared history, shared norms, values, like infrastructure, laws and so on, but you don't have a land, then that means that you dwell in the land of someone else, typically. Now, if you dwell in the land of someone else while you have all of these ingredients that can make you a nation, a strong people, then it's very important that you don't assimilate to the nation or the territory or the people of the territory of the land you're currently occupying. Because when you do that, assimilate unto that land and that territory and that culture and those laws, then what actually happens, you become like them and less like you. Now, the Most High told us in advance, He shared with us in advance that this is our wisdom, this is our righteousness, this is what the other nations will point to you and say, wow, how close is the Most High to these people? And yet what typically happens is assimilation, and therefore because of assimilation, the things which Father said he will bless his people with doesn't necessarily manifest. Instead of being the head, they become the tail. And so, my encouragement to us, to you today, is though we have all of these things that the Most High gave to his people through his law, through his word, through sending the prophets, through sending Yeshua and the apostles, because of this assimilation and this tendency to think, behave, and believe as though we are a part of the nations, the people of God don't experience universally across the board that is which is written about them. So here's a step to help you unassimilate yourself from that of the nations. In one word, independence. See, when you're independent, you are no longer dependent. But who are you dependent on? Well, you're pretty much dependent on the one whose land you are currently occupying. And if you are dependent on them, they set the terms while you are inhabiting that land. So though you have all of the ingredients to build a nation, to be a nation, to be strong like a nation, you don't see it come to pass. The promises described to the children of Israel, because there is a dependency on the one whose land you are occupying. To revoke that, there needs to be dependence. And there's many areas in your life, I'm sure you can think of a few, where you are dependent. And so, if we are to thrive, to prosper and grow and come together as a people, as believers more, and be dependent on the Most High, as opposed to the state, the royalty of the land, the government of this world, we should be more independent. Not independent of the Most High, but independent of so-and-so power and authority that's present in the earth. So growing your own food. If you grew your own food, would you need to toil and sweat as much as you do in your current occupation if you could wake up in the morning, go outside and just group together your breakfast, lunch and dinner? So growing your own food, especially now. Your own energy. Your own means to gather and accumulate wealth and money. And I'm sure there's other things which you can think about. But if you was dependent, would you need to be as assimilated unto the nations that we see and experience for ourselves or our brethren to this day? If all of the wealth, all of the riches can be traced back to that which comes from the earth, historically gold, historically silver, historically salt, some cultures historically stones, precious gems, present tense and present times, fiat currency that until recently was backed by these natural things. So if the wealth is in the ground and the Most High put it there, then nobody who lives upon this earth should be poor. If you live on earth, you shouldn't be poor, because the wealth comes from the earth. But what makes people poor is the exploitation of the people who live on the earth, so that the earth that they live on, the riches, the minerals, the precious stones, the timber, the metals, don't go to the people of the earth, it goes to a select few. But with independence, with working with your own hands, your own feet, you can cut out this wicked facilitator which is designed to rob you of your relationship with the Most High and rob you of your relationship to the Most High and his creation. You can cut him out and glean from what Father has given all man. As I was walking down the hill, I was just thinking, you know what? The wealth in this earth is infinite. So why do we have such a limited mind? Why is it Jehovah's people are oftentimes struggling when it's limitless? You can say, Marcus, how is the wealth limitless? Well, how much gold is there? You could say, well, there's a maximum supply of gold. Okay. How much silver is there? There's a maximum supply of silver. Okay. What about platinum? Does that have any value? Yes, but there's a limited supply. So we believe. So people believe. Okay. What about palladium? Well, with all of those, you have to dig into the ground. You have to do this, that, and the other. Okay. Is there any value in fruit and vegetables? Could you exchange that for mammon? Yeah. But you need land for that. Okay. So can you turn rays of the sun into monetary value? Yes, you can, but you need solar panels, and so you can turn rays of the sun into monetary value. What about the wind? Can you monetize the wind? Yes, you can. Well, you can have a wind farm. So you can monetize the wind. You can monetize the sun. Can you monetize the wave? You can monetize the wave. You can turn wave technology, and the wave turns, it creates electricity. In other words, the more you use this, the more monetization of this you will be able to reach. So wealth is infinite because it's the people who place value on whatever it is that makes it wealthy. So your thought is what makes it wealthy. Your association to the object makes it wealthy. And I'm saying all of that to say, when it comes down to being a nation, being a people, being independent, while being dependent on the Most High, it begins first and foremost here, or should I say here. If you put a limit on you, if you put a limit on the Most High, that is how far you will go and not beyond. And I say to you, brothers and sisters, don't do that. If the Gentiles, if the heathens and pagans are able to create systems of essentially infinite wealth, you go from gold, silver, from salt, from stones, to fiat, stocks, bonds, ETFs, derivatives, cryptocurrencies, monetizing the sun, monetizing the wind, monetizing waves. Like your rubbish, what you throw in your bin is a business. What you recycle is a business. And it's the heathen, it's the Gentile, it's the non-believer who is monetizing it, when people who have access to the creator of all things are not looking for their opportunities to be independent. Anyway, these are just my musings, my thoughts. I'm hoping it will stir up something in you, and it'll provoke you to follow in suit. Shalom.